Hello, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've been here. The truth is, filming videos is really hard. and and honestly, filming videos for the first time, being really new to this, doesn't just require like the work that takes to going into them. It also, there's like a mental part of it for me that while I'm editing, I have to fight the brain that says like, oh, this isn't good enough. You shouldn't post this. So I have filmed multiple videos since my last one and have gotten to the editing process and have stopped because I just convinced myself that it's not good enough. And that is a really hard mental kind of barrier to break through. And so we're trying again. Today is mostly unplanned. This was not a video that I've been thinking about and have been like, okay, cool, then we're going to do this. I decided this yesterday because we are going to some friend's house tonight for dinner and we're bringing dessert. And so I found a recipe yesterday that I wanted to try and I thought, let's set up the camera and bring you along with me. And we are going to try once again to break past that mental barrier that says it's not good enough or that says that it's not perfect or whatever it may be. And we are going to edit this and we're going to put it together and we're going to share it with you because I honestly do enjoy this process. I enjoy filming things. I enjoy baking. I enjoy being in the kitchen. And I love the idea of bringing people along with me. And so I'm home by myself today. And so we're going to hang out in my kitchen and we're going to bake a cinnamon roll cake. Now, the friends that we are having dinner with are also our pastors at our church. And every year at Christmas time, I always make cinnamon rolls for our like family Christmas morning breakfast. And I think it's been at least for the past like 6 or 7 years, I make a double batch and I make a whole batch for our pastors and their family. And I drop them off on Christmas Eve so that they get them on Christmas Day. And it's just our little tradition. It's wonderful. They really enjoy them. And while I don't have enough time to make a full batch of cinnamon rolls for dinner or for dessert after dinner, I thought, let's carry those same flavors into the dessert. And so we're going to do a cinnamon roll cake. I found this recipe on Pinterest. I will link it below so that you have access to it if it's something that looks interesting to you. It does look like the cake portion of it will not have the kind of traditional, this isn't a birthday cake with cinnamon flavor. The cake does look like it has more of a muffin texture to it than a like really tight, dense cake. Not dense, but like a really tight crumb cake. And so we're going to make a cake base and then we're going to make a cinnamon roll filling. Brown sugar, cinnamon, butter. I think there's a little bit of flour in there. And we're going to dollop that on top of the cake batter and then swirl it in. So that is where we will get our cinnamon roll filling element in the cake. On top of the cake, after it is baked, we're going to create a cream cheese frosting that is going to go on top. And so hopefully we will have the flavors and the taste of eating a cinnamon roll, but with cake instead of bread. The extra added benefit to making a cake is that this should take about an hour to make total with baking and everything. It has to cool, obviously, before we put frosting on it, but the actual prep time, bake time is about an hour versus cinnamon rolls, which need an hour just to rise to do one rise, and it has 2 rises. So it's a much easier process. So I'm super excited about this. I will bring you along. We'll see if I have enough courage to bring my camera along for tasting and see if they'd be up for it. If not, then I'll just report back on how it tasted. But let's make some cinnamon roll cake. my hope is you just enjoy hanging out and talking. So we are going to take some softened butter. I need 10 tablespoons of softened butter. And so I have some, that's Barely Bright. Right here, we're just going to plop, that is 8 tablespoons. And we will take 2 from another stick. I have a bunch of softened butter because I know I'm going to need some for the filling, and I'm also going to need some for the frosting. So this is kind of the leftover from that stick. We'll plop it out of the way, and then we'll take the last 2 tablespoons and plop it. I am using my KitchenAid mixer today. And so that butter melted all over the place. I was having a conversation the other day with someone. We were talking about motivations and what kind of motivates us to do things. And I think in particular, we were talking about motivations for like exercising and stuff. And I was saying, and I was talking about how like I don't really know what motivates me because every time I want to do something, it's motivated by something else, by something different. But we were talking about inspiration, and she had asked like, where do you get your inspiration from? And I really had to think about that. I was like, I don't really know. But the truth is after thinking about it, I realized that I get a lot of inspiration from watching other people do things that I really enjoy doing. I'm a worship leader at our church. I'm on staff at our church, and I love to watch other worship leaders lead worship and just to kind of watch how they do what they do. I love art. I love hand lettering, and I love following people that post videos of them doing it. And I love YouTube. I love watching other people. I have a long list of subscriptions of people that I watch every kind of channel, from really, really huge gardening channels to real, like a lot smaller channels. And in particular, one of the people I watch is Becky over at Acre Homestead. My mom introduced me to her channel, and I love watching her. She does gardening. She does a lot of cooking in her kitchen. She does a lot of, she's learning a lot how to not learning how to can. She's been canning for years, I think. But she's always experimenting on different recipes and different ways that she can stock her pantry, stock her freezers with food for her family. And I love watching her because she doesn't have it all figured out, and she brings you along with her, and you get to watch her in the kitchen, and you watch her experiment, and sometimes it doesn't work. And what I notice is that like we're watching her when it doesn't work, and it's okay. And she continues to try, and she continues, and she has a lot of successes. She has a lot of things that work really well. And she's just really inspiring to me when I watch her. And she makes me want to grab my camera and bring it into the kitchen. And so that is what we're doing today. I'm trying to learn how to not be perfect. I'm trying to learn how it's okay to try things. It's okay for it not to work. It's okay for it not to be exactly how I envisioned it. But it's not okay to not try. And so this is me trying. So let's get back to baking, shall we? It's going to be really difficult to talk and also do things so that I don't just completely mess up this cake after I've just talked about experiments. We're just adding sugar, just barely. And I believe we are just going to beat those until smooth and creamy. Let's do it. Okay. So our butter and sugar are creamy. I think creaming butter and sugar is one of my favorite parts of baking. Is that weird? Might be weird. It's fine. There's just something about watching butter and sugar come together, and like the texture of the butter changes and the color of the butter changes. But we've got that all done. We are going to add eggs now, and I'm going to add 2 eggs, but I'm going to add each one in separately. Then we're going to add in our vanilla, just 2 teaspoons, but we don't measure vanilla that way. We just measure with our heart. So now that all the eggs are mixed in with the vanilla, we are going to add in all of the dry ingredients: flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt. We are going to integrate the flour with sour cream, and then we are going to add some milk afterwards. Okay, so this is very, very thick. I'm going to scrape down all the sides before I add in the milk, because the milk is going to thin it out a little, which is nice. But I want to get kind of everything off first. So now we are going to add in our milk. Just going to do a little at a time so it doesn't splash all over the place. So even with the milk, this batter is very thick, which is totally fine. This is why I say it is going to be a little bit more of a like muffin type, like muffin texture. But now we want to get as much of this off of the paddle as possible. So I have this, what I think is a 13 by 9 by 2 pan. I really wish that they would put the size on the bottom of this, but they have not. So we are going to assume, and honestly, this is the only thing really I have that is large enough. So this is what we're going to put it in. It is greased. I just lined the bottom with butter. We're going to attempt to plop this whole batter in here. I'm a little worried that this pan isn't going to be quite big enough, or is going to be too big is what I'm worried about. We're going to get everything out of here that we can. Now we're just going to try to smooth it out. If I had an offset spatula, that would be extremely helpful, but I do not. That's okay. We're going to make this work. Sorry. Trying to make this as even as I can. This stuff is thick. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to do some dollops and some swirling of the cinnamon filling, so it doesn't have to lay perfectly flat, because we're going to mess it up a little bit anyways. Okay, so right now the batter for the cake is just sitting in the back there. I need to make the cinnamon roll filling that we will dollop on top. So first off, I just have some super softened butter in this container. To it, I'm going to add some brown sugar and a little bit of flour. I've already measured these things out, just so it would be slightly easier. And then I need a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon. I, in recipes, don't usually measure my cinnamon because I love cinnamon. But we will measure and then add a little extra. And some salt. It's the recipe says a couple of pinches. What is a couple? I don't know. This is sometimes why I love baking. And it says to just use a fork to bring all that together. This might take a second. I guess if you really wanted to, you could put this in the mixer and let the machine do all the work. Here we are. Shouldn't be too bad. This is why you want really softened butter though. Because if you can see, it is now getting into like a paste. And if that butter was still hard in any way, this would be much harder because you would have to break that down first. So I put my butter in the microwave for literally like 5 seconds just to soften. And it was already kind of softened. Sorry, I have a like really hard rock of brown sugar here. So I'm just trying to like, break it apart or perhaps just take it out. I have a container. Let me show you. So I have this container for brown sugar that has one of these. It's hard to see because it's bright, but has one of these that you are supposed to soak in water, and then it fits. Can't really see it, but it fits right here. But this keeps drying out really fast, and when I soak it in water and leave it in, I end up with these little things. So I just don't know if it's worth it. You guys tell me, do you guys have one of these? The instructions said to soak it in water, like cold water, for like 5 to 10 minutes. And that's what I do. So let me know if you've experienced that or if I'm doing it wrong, because anything is possible. So we're back to just smoothing this down. I want to make sure all of that butter is mixed in. Okay. So that looks great to me. Okay, so we're back with the cake batter, and to the side we have our cinnamon roll filling. I'm going to take the cinnamon roll filling, and I'm just going to take, actually I'm going to end up with another dirty spoon, and we're just going to like drop this. You didn't really get to see that, did you? Here, I'll do it over here. We're going to just take a spoonful and we're going to drop it. I'm not going to like push it into the cake or anything like that. We're just going to take some and drop it around. I mean, you could measure it. Ooh, you could use, I'm not going to dirty another thing, but you could use a cookie scoop, like a really small one, because you don't want to do too much in one glob. You want to like spread it out. We're just going to dollop it around. I'm really excited for this. I hope this comes out really good. That is more about me wanting to taste something good than my fear of failing. So we're going to plop, continue. I'm making them slightly smaller as I go. Probably the first couple were a little too big, but that's fine. Okay, so we have our batter with all of the dollops of cinnamon in them. At first I was going to use a chopstick, like the thicker end of a chopstick to like swirl, but it might be a little bit too thick. So instead I'm just going to use a small knife. And the recipe says use a thin knife to swirl the filling around and down into the batter. And so we're going to start over here and we're just going to like, it's pretty thick. Maybe I need to go slower and longer. That might be it. Swirling when it's like thick batter is weird. This is the moment I wonder, can I screw this up? But we're going to push past that thought. And we're just going to keep going. The picture on the recipe looks really pretty. And while prettiness is not always a thing that I worry about, you know, we are going to cover it up by frosting though, so it doesn't actually matter. What matters is that we get it swirled into the cake and pushed down like in the batter. So we're going to go through once and then we'll do it kind of again a second time through the whole thing. We essentially want to disperse all of that cinnamon mixture through the cake. So this is what it looks like after we swirl. We are going to put it in the oven. The oven has been preheating for a while now at 350, and we are going to bake this for 30 to 40 minutes or until the middle, we'll stick probably a chopstick into it and check to see if it's done. So 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, I have got our cake is out of the oven. I'm really excited. It has a little bit of it's soft, but has a little bit of a crustiness to it because of the cinnamon and the brown sugar. I'm really excited about this. So we need that to cool completely. We cannot put frosting on a hot cake. It'll just melt. Tricky part is I'm running out of time. But the oven is off. And we're just gonna let that cool. And in the meantime, we're going to make frosting. So I have in my mixing bowl, I have some cream cheese and some butter. We are gonna get that mixing up on the KitchenAid. And we will eventually add some powdered sugar, some whipping cream. This is basically the same thing I make when I make actual cinnamon rolls. It's just a matter of, we're probably going to want it just slightly thinner than you would do for a regular cinnamon roll, just because you're going to be putting it on a cake. But it's basically the same thing, which is really exciting. So let's mix it up. All right, so we've got that cream cheese and the butter mixed up. We're going to scrape down the sides. Now, the recipe, here's the thing with frosting. I am not a fan of overly sweet frosting. And so we are obviously going to put powdered sugar into this, but we are going to put powdered sugar into this. But the recipe calls for 3 cups. I am going to start with less than that, just because I know I generally tend to like it less sweet. So I want to be able to control the sweetness. So I'm going to start off just a half a cup at a time. The other thing we're balancing with this is the thickness. Powdered sugar is going to thicken it up, and we will be also adding a little bit of whipping cream into that to both thin it out, but also it's what I use in all of my frostings just to give it a little airiness. We'll also put vanilla in for flavoring. So that is 1 cup. I'm loosely measuring this. This is not exact, and I'm okay with that. Now, because I've made frosting like this before, I feel completely comfortable kind of changing it as I go to more line up with what I want it to taste like. Oftentimes when I make it for cinnamon rolls, I end up putting more cream cheese than a recipe would call for, just because I like that cream cheese flavor. But we'll see how this goes. Okay, so we're back after a little bit, and the frosting is done. It's a little thin. but I don't take that as a bad thing at this point because it's going to go on top of a cake and it tastes like cream cheese frosting. I'm happy with that. It is still too warm. The cake is still too warm to be able to put this on. So we're going to let this sit in the fridge for a little bit while we wait for the cake to cool. So we'll come back when that is ready to do. So I last left this video making a cake and I took it to a friend's house and we ate it and I never finished the video. So it is almost a week later and I decided I'm at my mom's house. We're having dinner. I would make dessert and I'd make the cinnamon cake again so that I could actually finish it, show it to you, and then taste it. So here is the cinnamon roll cake. It's slightly different. It looks slightly different than when I made it last week, but I think it's going to taste the same. So let's cut it and taste it.
Try.
Thank you.
I almost had a drink of food last night.
A what?
Oh, a daiquiri.
Daiquiri.
A daiquiri.
I was looking at whatever was there, so I'm like, I don't know. Well,
Yeah, this should be able to.
What is the consensus?
Looks
tastes
amazing.
like a cinnamon roll
Tastes like a cinnamon roll.
mm-hmm.
I haven't eaten it yet.
with the consistency of the cake, like a.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Yes, this is a winner.
Yeah. Definitely a take to a potluck. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't speak.
It's so good, you can't speak.
Mm-hmm. Everybody agrees.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
We'll make again.
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
I reserved the 11 out of 10 for your actual cinnamon rolls, but this is a 10
That's
out
fair.
of 10. It was a close second.
This is really good though.
It doesn't
I'll agree about that.
It doesn't make you feel like you have that big old cinnamon roll, but yeah, you got the flavor.
Yeah, because it's not bread.
It's like there's like a lightness to
It's
it.
not overpowering, like too much sugar.
Yeah.
See, I should
No,
do another
like,
piece.
There's more. Well,
I know what kind of cake I want for my birthday.
there you go. Cinnamon roll cake. Success. We'll make it again. Thanks for hanging out. Kind of a wild video.
But worth it.
2 cakes,
I
2
assume.
different days. One ending. 2 different houses, 1 ending. So, thanks for hanging out. See you next time.
time.